understand the wealth creation of real estate, also the added value of it. So we start, it's already on live, yes. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for joining Real Estate Leading Change, which is the inclusiveness that World Women Leading Change have under my company called Ayla Associate. We actually have a Global Property Bank and Technology Center that doing learning and cultivating mentorship and a new way to maximizing value in real estate. That is including provide the proper solution and also using the latest technology. This is our 7th meetings for Real Estate for Africa, and today I have 2 amazing partner of mine joining me here, and these people are super busy, but I am so happy that they are able to join. So my first guest today is Dato David Gurupatham. He is, I think, the best lawyer in planet Earth because he's so passionate about what he does. He is very adventurous, and he's also very successful. He owns company, digital company called WorldQuest that I think one of the, the top 5 or maybe 10 companies in Malaysia with maybe 12 or 15 digit numbers of income. But beyond that, Dato David is a philanthropist and also humanitarian. And the second guest today we have is Mr. Ruslan, which also amazing with his technology. He has satellite. And Mr. Ruslan, under advanced technology with my company, we have many business engagement. So I'm very lucky. I have 2 very smart gentlemen on the house today, and let's change the real estate sector in the new world. Dato David, how are you, Dato?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Thank you for inviting me today.
You look fabulous with the bluish blue jazz, So I just wanted to introduce you. Maybe you can explain and share what is actually that you do, because I'm aware also you are also advising for international institutions such as China Silk Road and also Central Bank of Malaysia. You are known worldwide about your work. So over to you, Dato David.
Hi, thank you very much. Well, I've been in sort of financial instruments and project financing for some time. The firm David Gurupatham, one of the advisors for several provinces in China, including the province of Shandong, where we have an office in Jinan. We advise on infrastructure projects, financing, and so on and so forth. In terms of the tech company that we have, WorldQuest, we provide solutions for the market in terms of blockchain and other technology. And we have a presence in Ukraine, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and China as well. So I kind of I live in 2 worlds: technology and the traditional world of being a lawyer.
Yeah,
and
good.
sort of things. Yes. Now I'm 52 years old, by the way, so I've been around for a bit. Today's topic is
the same age.
Really? Wow, you look younger than me. but today's topic really is a very interesting topic, and if I may share on the issue of real estate. And before I come to to perhaps technology solving a lot of the problems, maybe I can explain or share with you what I believe are the issues with real estate today. So if we look at it, real estate is a commodity just like anything else. It is something that is always a minimum. You know, there's only so much. And if you look at property prices in all the countries, especially in the main cities, they only go up. But the level on which this rise in property values has gone up since the 1980s has been unprecedented. And in fact, actually, it has been used as a tool by many countries also to inflate or overheat economies. Since the 1980s, you have something called neoliberalistic economic policies, which came from the West. And basically what it is really where it is outflow of funds, and that those funds go into markets, into third world countries and all that. And then that overheats the economies by increasing asset prices. Hence, you have asset bubbles around the country. Now, some people may say this is economic warfare, but that's really what's been going on. And so you find that some countries like China then insist on capital controls because the values of assets go up. And in fact, today we are in a situation which is, if you ask me, ridiculous, because asset prices are so high that people can't afford properties in the major cities. Property prices are too high. They can't afford these assets. And also, if you look at it, the system works on the banking system, and the banking system itself is not efficient, right? So if you want to, for most people, their biggest investment in their life will be their home. And if you look at 320 million people in Indonesia, for example, right, or 270 million people in Indonesia, right, if you take a portion of that, their biggest investment will be their home, and prices of these properties are very high. And to get to buy these properties, whether you're in business or privately, you need to go to the bank, you need to take a mortgage, you need to take a loan, and then that whole system itself is inefficient, and not everybody has access to that. So now you have a situation post MCO whereby you have all these properties, they can't sell it any cheaper because they owe the bank X amount, or the value of the land is at X amount, the construction cost is at X amount. Nobody can take it, nobody can rent it to make it feasible. And so you have a big bottleneck with properties around the world. I mean, it happens even in Kuala Lumpur. What do? You have now MCO, you're looking, we have what we call the lockdown. And the real effect of this economic problem will probably be the end of the year, where companies shut down. They don't have money, and then you find people can't rent properties. There will be foreclosures. The banks will take back the properties and things like that. And there's an oversupply in the market. But can anybody else come in? You can't come in because the banks also are going to be very restrictive in terms of how they're going to lend money. So it's a ridiculous situation caused by a very inefficient economic model. So Dr. Ayla, coming to what you were saying, what is the solution to that? The solution to that has to be technology. Because technology is the way in which we disrupt everything. Disruption of that has shown to be effective. And one of the things that we need to start thinking about is where we have fractionalized ownership, where you are able to have 400, 500, 1,000 people own a portion of a beneficial interest of property. And by doing so, what you do is you do not need the banking system anymore. You can unlock private capital. So there's a lot of people with private capital, but they don't have a license to lend money because the banks, the governments and the banks, they monopolize the whole thing, right? You can't, because the bank charge high interest rates, blah, blah, blah. So currently, for example, you have, let's say 10 people, and if they have, let's say 1 million each, and they put it in the bank, the interest rates, the rates that they get is close to zero. But they can't lend money because they need a license to lend money. But if they were now to be able to say, okay, I'll take my 10 people were able to take their 1 million and put it into a joint project in which they can take over certain properties. And then that properties, because the rates are much lower, let's say even if they get, you know, a smaller sum of 5 or 3 or 2%, which is much better than the bank, then these properties will then be able to, you're able to unlock private capital to then rejuvenate the property sector. In other words, we're calling it very similar to a digital REIT, for example. And so all of these things are now much easier, for example. Also, you're able to move capital a lot easier today. Unlike before, if you wanted to send, you know, even $1 million across countries and across jurisdictions, it's very difficult because you have to go through the banks, you have to go through the whole process, and all of that needs to be done. But today, you know, you have tokens such as Bitcoin, or you can have even digital systems by banks. Like China is coming up with a digital currency. And, you know, one of the reasons as advisors to this system is the central banking system. The central banking system, I think everybody understands, is flawed. So in 2013, you found that China, Russia, India, Brazil, they call it the BRICS economy, they came out and said, no, we are going to trade in our basket of currencies and so on and so forth, without using the US dollar, without using central banks, and so on and so forth. Now that effectively, since 2013 to now, 7 years, 40% of the trade is still in the old way. And one of the main reasons for that is because all these countries are not embracing this new technology or digital technology. People are so afraid of something called cryptocurrency. People think currency is Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be that. You know, people, there is a stigma attached to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But people in technology and people who understand value understand that that's not the case. There's so much of possibilities to move value without even being considered a cryptocurrency using technology. And with today, like, you know, Ruslan here, he has the ability with satellite, with 5G, we can move value at a much more efficient manner than what it used to be before, right? You have, for example, you have Swift, you have all this, you know, it takes about a week, it takes 30% of whatever you want to move in terms of just charges. So to cut a long story short, Dr. Ayla, I think that for the world right now, in terms of real estate, we have to start embracing technology. We have to start looking at fractionalized ownership. We have to bring values of properties down to realistic levels to be able to move the property market forward. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
amazing, Dato David. Dato David is also now currently we are working together, yes, to raise big bucks for Indonesian government. But let's hear from the guest number 2 today, which is also my partner and my associate, Mr. Ruslan. Can you explain about what you do and your work in general? And
if we are talking about Africa, we have to talk exactly what we can do there. As our brother.
Yes, we wanted. Well, this is the 7th course for African lady actually, because we are planning to enter Africa by giving proper information, also giving opportunities, but not restricted to Africa, because this video will be in everywhere basically, you know. But of course, the main focus now is how to unleash maybe Asia and Africa. Ruslan, maybe you can explain what you do and the satellite and
yeah, what we can do. We can discuss what we can do. As our brother David says, a lot of technologies still misunderstood actually. When you talk about blockchain, DLT, distributed ledger technology, it's actually, you don't have to relate to any currency, cryptocurrency or whatever, tokens, coins, you know, this is technology itself. Therefore, right now, when we talk about areas, yeah, like Southeast Asia, Africa can be the same, you know, not just Europe, America, especially where is right now, if we talk about law enforcement in any way, we are talking about business or not business, lack of confidence of the people to the government is quite high. You know. So why it's actually a lot of governments don't like, not just don't like even when you talk about blockchain or DLT, because they cannot control or manipulate. When you enter anything, you know, data you can change. Therefore,
yeah, last week we had this blockchain. So apparently blockchain is
now
something that...
now we're talking about technology. Why I'm going to this point. The same thing, when you talk about, let's say, Africa today, if you want to, let's say, talk about using, let's say, satellite in particularly in Africa. This is more in cadastre, land registry. Quite big problems, same like in Southeast Asia, the same problems.
Everywhere.
Therefore, we have product which we call user, Universal State Registry, which is actually first in that kind, if you talk about where we use satellite, because a few cases we have right now done in Eastern Europe, which is, we can say, not really using full potential. Now we have artificial intelligence model already there, where we can use for land registry, let's say for the cadastre registry, you know, satellite, of course, DLT, or you can call blockchain, and at the same time, artificial intelligence. When you talk about, let's say, traditional register of any land title, I think our lawyer knows and Ayla knows, in many countries, it takes actually months. Sometimes I heard that a year also, you know, to register, change the title, register title. Secondly, you have always...
Yes. I think when you are doing real estate, you need to have good lawyer or you need to learn law school. You have to go to law school, right? Because otherwise, you know,
having lawyer, lot of government agencies are not really, they don't have unified some system. When you arrive, just click the button and you know, you can register. In our case, which we have proven few cases in few countries, you can do this in a few seconds, which you do years. First of all, you know, this is save your time. And don't forget, also money. If you pay roughly before $1,000, you pay in this, after, you know, you transfer everything to new technology, minimum 10 times less, about $100, you know. Therefore, in Africa, what I see today, we have to talk about real use case, not something which somebody done or we do somewhere else. And the same thing, of course, we are talking about Southeast Asia. The same cases here, even in Indonesia. Right now I'm in Jakarta. In Indonesia, more than 17,000 islands. A lot of cases here, even within Jakarta, Greater Jakarta, even in Java, where you have problems. We discuss with some of the clients, mismatches, you know, with cadastre, with the land registries, because in our case, you know, detection of the cadastral mismatches are instant. You don't have any issues, because we are talking about, first of all, of course, satellite data, which we can use, historical data also. Don't forget, the point is, I can have 5 years ago with the same point where it was 10 years ago, up to date. You know, we can have.
Are you saying that we can actually have what happened in that area 5 years ago? Or?
Of course, visual data we can have 10 years ago even, no issues. Wow. Therefore, what I see in Africa, we can start.
Wow, very dangerous, yeah, Ruslan. It could be very dangerous if I can see the house of somebody 10 years ago. I'm just joking, yes.
That's reality. That's reality. This is not implemented by me. This is
yes. Of course, it's very important to see what happened in the history. Actually, yes.
In our projects, what we do in our technologies, we just have a number of technologies. We create product, which of course which we see right now unique and not really I don't see the guys who doing that. The same thing with when we talk about the mineral resources, which right now I don't think in Africa somebody will be interested in this particular moment for exploration because it's costly and people more concerned about more other things. Even government agencies right now, I see they are quite relaxed. I don't think until next year anybody will be touching mineral resources side. Therefore, maybe real estate will be there, you know, but still what we are doing right now, I think you can work in more cadastral, you know, cadastral management, land registry management in the countries. We have cases in Southeast Asia, also 1-2 countries where we are invited. I was just before close lockdown the countries. I just came back to Indonesia. I was invited with one of the government agencies, you know, to see what we can do. Quite big area also, not few, about 20 to 30,000 square kilometers. This was government agency, and they want to, this is related to the mineral resources, and there is national park. They want to, you know, some borders to see how, because remote areas, and this is a remote area where a lot of things they cannot control. We have few tasks with them.
So with satellite, I'm aware that we can actually reach the data or the access to non-internet area. Yes, Ruslan.
No, you see, to get any data, I don't have to step there even. You just give me GPS coordinates. I never go to the areas, doesn't matter, wherever remote, even in Africa. The good point is that for our African partners, we don't have to be there. So we just need GPS coordinates. Any project could be if they want more details, but again, it's all depends on the task. What task we have. We've done jobs in the, let's say in Malaysia, our brother is from Malaysia, for Petronas, one job which is actually nowhere in the middle of the ocean. You know, this was the most deep sea project, quite big, you know, about 3.3 kilometers under the sea. Therefore, the project can be anywhere. Therefore, I don't have to be there. Therefore, this is the plus and good point. And this is also, if you talk about traditional methods, why it's more economical. This is another point. For client, it's economical, and also at the same time, if we have task, let's say, to check the same point, the same place, the same spot periodically, near real time, once a week, once a month, also can be provided data regarding, you know, what's going on within 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, doesn't matter, you know, once, it's depend on the budget also. Because
so are you saying that your technology, you can read even under the ocean? Until how deep, Ruslan?
Of course. But this depends on the task. That's not, you see, there is sometimes misunderstanding when people is not in that business. They think from satellite can see everything, you know. You cannot see anything from satellite. I tell you directly, yes. When you talk about reading something and what you see in the movies, yes. When you talk about underground, there is no way, there is no satellites doing this. This is also job of our scientists. This is calculation, mathematical calculations. There is a lot of data have to be collected in order to calculate. That's why you must understand there is no satellite in the world. When you just point and can see undersea or under, you know, underground, some of the objects or whatever. There is no such thing. There is no wonders. But there is, you know, very clearly, without any mistakes.
Algorithm like AI algorithm.
We created quite sophisticated algorithms for our projects. Therefore, until today, that's why our Petronas guys was quite shocked, you know. I remember just one of the meeting when they invite me, they said, Ruslan, can you come have, you know, just discussion, coffee or tea. This was during our project ongoing. And one of the GM was, he says, Ruslan, I'm actually not wondering that you know what is the underground. You know, I am surprised. How do you know during our let's say drilling exactly where you say 600 or 800 meter will be, you know, dense rock, all this. It was so exact. You know, how can from 700 kilometer you detect that? That is the algorithms. You understand? This is we can't see that. They was quite shocked. Of course, they never expect that without stepping there. This job they done 2 years over there in the same project using traditional technology when we was invited. We completed this project. Of course, it is for particular area. It was about 10 days. 10 days and 2 years. There is difference. Normally, we don't take less than 10, 12 weeks project, but this was emergency situation. And that's why we take that. The meaning of this, a lot of things done by, this is collective, quite a lot of our teams working. Mathematicians, of course, using supercomputers, artificial intelligence nowadays. Last time we have no such algorithms. Now we implemented from end of last year algorithms which we can monitor, let's say, mining areas or, you know, and also to have more precise data in more short time. We use AI. That's why this is another additional, let's say, plus point for, again, for our African partners using the technologies, modern technologies over there, because it's always today, if you want to undertake any project, there is no budgets in any governments. I think it will be the same in Africa, Asia, Europe, America, I think everywhere. Nowadays, people concerned about more, you know, simple stuff. Therefore, we have to understand, yes, you have technology, but when you want to implement, the government agency or private agency is ready to, you know, undertake the project or not. And therefore, we can discuss today what we can do. And also, I will send you some presentations, of course. Therefore, you can see whenever it's chance available, sure, we will be able to undertake projects. You know, we have security projects also using satellites and also using traditional technologies. We have quite a number of.
So Ruslan, you are actually using the satellite actually and the algorithm. It actually will help my job to say, okay, you should actually invest here instead of this area, right? Or you know, in some parts of financial raising, I think Dato David also understand that we don't even have to dig the area, right?
No, it's not just that. To me, I think the technology that Ruslan has is amazing because one of the biggest issues is territorial disputes, borders, you know, not just international, not just Malaysia, Indonesia, South China Sea, but also within the states, and states themselves have issues with borders, natural resources, and within the state, even districts and even individual landowners, they have disputes. And these disputes they take a long time to resolve. But if you have the data straight away to say you're encroaching, you're not encroaching, how you're encroaching, where's the water resource coming from, you solve all those, that information alone is ultra valuable, even in managing asset resources, not just for the government, but also for private individuals. I think the technology is there, and I for one, I am one that I believe in technology, and I think you know, governments and all these people should actually start moving into these kind of solutions that are there to solve all the problems. There seems to be a stigma of people are afraid of technology. I mean, we understand, Ruslan understands. There's so much of benefits. Just as a lawyer, I can say, just the one thing that Ruslan said is a very big opportunity, and there's a very big market, but people are afraid to embrace technology. It's there.
Yeah, correct. And also, this is quite actually affordable for the even government agencies or private agencies. It's much cheaper. Sometimes people think, wow, using so sophisticated stuff, it will be more expensive. No, that's why using sophisticated stuff, it's made cheaper. Why? Because traditional technology, you have to engage a lot of course, machines, equipment, human resource. It's quite a lot of things. Therefore, using sophisticated advanced technologies, it's first of all, it's more accurate. There is no human error because a lot of things right now, if you see today, even in those cadastre management, cadastre register, why is the problems? Of course, sometimes we know why it's happening, fraud, there is a lot of things happen around it, all over the world, of course. I don't want to mention any particular country. Therefore, right now, of course, number of countries start investing for this. Why? Because they win much more, when they implement those technologies. And secondly, in future, government agencies don't have any problem with all kind of hijacking land, hijacking that, all kind of stuff. Therefore, this is actually quite convenient for, if we talk about even lawyer's office, if you want to prove something in that case, in this kind of case, it's a hell of work, hell of job to do. Therefore, if you talk about the security of your data integrity, this is very, very important, very important. Therefore, we have to, we like it or we don't like it, anyway, world is going to that. Therefore, we have to look at how we can, be, we can say useful to each other using that, and of course implementing those technologies. If you have questions, of course, definitely I will be glad to answer.
Okay,
maybe
very interesting.
I can have a question.
Yes, yes, very interesting. This is Ambassador Alice Kamunge is the co-founder of World Women Leading Change Africa. And over to you, Ambassador Alice. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Now, I have an interesting question for our speaker today. A few months ago, I was talking to a friend who told me that I was talking to her about mining, but what she told me disturbed my mind, because she told me there are people who are coming to Africa, and when they come to Africa, they don't need to buy land or mines where mines are really, but they explore with the satellite, and then they know where the minerals are, but they can buy land in the adjacent place, and they can go underground without the owners of the land realizing that there are people mining gold, for example, under their homes and under their territory without them knowing. Is it possible for somebody to come and buy my land and go to mine underground to maybe 10 other pieces of land from where they are bought? Is it possible?
Okay, first of all, this exactly we was talking about the land register. You don't have proper land register. Secondly, to go anywhere to understand what is the underground, especially, let's say, if we are talking about mining, if we are talking about even or the ocean or just in the land, less than 200-300 meters, I don't think you have, let's say, good mining assets. It's normally, okay, even 100, take 100 meters. Do you know, if somebody wants to dig 100 meters to really do something, it has to be very, very big excavating, works over there. Therefore, it's impossible. Of course, like in Indonesia, in any countries, there is some guys in the rivers, doing gold mining. They just traditional way, but this one you don't need anything. They just doing a very traditional way. So if you're talking about real mining, impossible. First of all, to understand, do you have anything there or not? You have to do quite a lot of work. So therefore, you have to invite geologists, geophysicists. It's mean all kind of machines you have to be involved. But without your knowledge, how they will do this job, I don't understand. Without knowledge of the government enforcement agencies, without permissions, I don't think it can be done. I don't know the countries where it can be done like that.
How about using satellite? Cannot, yeah?
No, no.
Still cannot, yeah? Because you need the permission to do work, I think.
No, you will understand. Of course, we will give you, you know, we've done quite big job in Africa. Even I tell you, the biggest diamonds which was found in the world, one was in Angola case, second was in Russia, was done using our technology. Just for your information, you know, the biggest, you know, it's not just piece of diamond. We are talking about the area in Angola. This was done using our technology. We've done quite a number of jobs in Africa, of course. We know how it's worked. But nowadays, if we are talking today, I don't know, let's say, if you have, let's say, investor, are he ready to implement, or he's doing right now, you know, any works on his mine? I know a lot of exploration works for the mining. Right now, it's, I see halted. They are not really doing anything. They are waiting. I think until end of this year, I don't believe, you know, people will be doing anything serious. If you have someone, yeah, we'll give you the checklist, what the questions, let them answer, then we can go from there.
So today we also have Dr. Rupa. Dr. Rupa is our partner in India from World Forum for Education. So the objective is we wanted to, you know, we want to give extra knowledge to the woman how to leverage value beyond real estate, you know, because I believe that real estate is woman decide, you know, to, for example, the process of the decision making. I think men also decide in real estate, but women decide the school, right? Women decide the school of the children. But now what happened is there is no school. So, you know, like I am actually very happy because now I can take my children everywhere. If I have to go to, you know, Africa, Egypt, Himalaya, I go take them because they don't even have to go to school, the technology, yes. But then another thing is that come up is we as a real estate big, you know, I actually, you know, believe it or don't believe it, the reason why I start going to offices is because I have like over 100 files, you know, people need help, either loan restructuring, you know, just a lot of work. But most of them say, I don't have money to pay you because, you know, I'm in a very difficult situation. So, you know, I have a big file like this big, like super big, you know. So I think that this vision of real estate leading change is, even for me, I want to find a solution, right? Like we learn every day, you know, like talking to Dato David or talking to scientists like you, it will be make it easier for us to say, okay, because, you know, in real estate investing is actually, if you can add the value, it's not very difficult to raise capital.
And
you see, if
if I may
people
just
think,
add,
yes, if people think a price of Chanel is actually $10, but if you can make them understand that the price of Chanel is actually, yes, you pay $10, but you actually have $10 million because this probably the last Chanel, you know, this probably the last Chanel boxes, you know, or these Chanel boxes used to be like owned by Coco Chanel, or, you know, there's a lot of potential value in real estate that I think we're not leveraging yet. So this is why I have this channel to explore the possibility, because we know that at the moment the world needs people like you, Dato David, people like you, Mr. Ruslan, to solve their issues, liquidity issues, right? And
therefore, I might
legal
just
issues.
add, Ayla, that if you look at what Ruslan and I are saying, basically by adopting technology, we are able to unlock value, because when you have the ability to identify ownership, if you have ability to identify areas, places, historical data, and movement of ownership, transfer of ownership easily, like the property itself or the beneficial interest in property itself can be moved between people in a very easy way. I mean, you know, using Ruslan's technology, using the technology that we have today, you can actually unlock value in property. Now, the difference is this: why this is an added advantage for Africa is that in almost all the other advanced countries, if you want to talk about the West and all that, they're very archaic. The systems that Ruslan was talking about, the land registry, the way that you transfer, and the laws and all that are already very entrenched. But in countries that are developing, Southeast Asia, and Africa, this is a good time to actually get a head start on a lot of the other countries by actually now quickly adopting this type of technology. And so, for example, like an example that you just gave, now in a lot of Western countries, they spend a lot of money on infrastructure in terms of schools, building schools and things like that. But today with satellite technology, you can penetrate into the smallest village. You save a lot of money on schools. You just need to give them laptops and that's it. You know, you're able to track and trace students, people. You're able to track and trace assets using satellite technology. You have fleet management. There's so much that you can do at a press of a button while you're on a holiday somewhere in the Bahamas. All of this can be done now. And really for countries or developing countries, emerging countries like Africa and Southeast Asia, you're able to come to a much faster level of development without so much of the old traditional amounts of investments that is required to put into these type of projects. For example, why do you need to build 100 schools when you have technology that can beam that thing directly? You need one teacher, two teachers, and you can reach. So resources, for example, that's just one example. You know, so what I'm saying is for countries like Southeast Asia and Africa especially, relying on technology that is already there. Like what Ruslan and I shared, people are afraid of technology because they don't understand technology. And it's there, it's not something that's new, it's been there for a long time. You don't even need to worry about 5G or whatever. This is existing technology, RFID technology. All of these technologies are not expensive, they're cheap, but it's just that you need the will and somebody to understand, to put it together, to come up with solutions. And what that means is countries in Africa, Southeast Asia, South Asia are able to reach a much quicker level of development with a much lower cost. And if you can add to that unlocking private capital without these countries actually having to put capital in, because today capital can move from all other countries, you will find that you will have a wave of development very easily, just as a policy or just as an idea. And that is something that we need to think about seriously.
And
yes,
also,
another thing also, this satellite was probably used, yes, yeah, Mr. Ruslan, I just want to ask, let's say for farming, because we want to go back to farming, yes, we decided that we should go back to village and do farming. This satellite, will it be able to say, you know, because taking the land and actually learning about the soil, and you can actually map, you know, what kind of, say, what kind of, you know, product that is the best to plant here. So you are actually mapping your long-term strategy on creating a value from products or value for, you know, even for real estate itself, because, you know, I would like to live in my own, let's say, gold mine. You know what I mean? I like to live in the land that below it have gold mine, you know, just in case, you know, like, let's say, just as an example.
Okay, can I give you, hello?
Yes.
Okay, I give you one example, again, in your real estate. Right now, what I think you have to, let's say, all the guys who involved in the real estate business have to do it. Right now, it's quite volatile times, you know. you have to start to use more. We have projects also and products where we can use intelligent video analytics plus business intelligence, BI. For example, when you talk about your business, doesn't matter, it could be apartments, it could be land or whatever it is. How do you know in this particular times, difficult times, behavior of the clients, future clients, government agencies, regarding this or that, depend of what, your problem in real estate. How do you know? There is no way you can read this in newspaper. There is no way you can see that something in internet. So that's why you need to use products like business intelligence. At least, again, this is much cheaper. You don't have to, again, go to the companies like old days, you go and you ask those big guys, can you give us some market research? No, nowadays it doesn't work like that. Nowadays, more information you can get from social media than this consulting firm can give you. Therefore, you have to look at those, the technologies which can help you today without, spending extra cash, Therefore, in real estate today, the very, very crucial product, it will be what I see, business intelligence. This is product himself.
I agree.
Give data, you give just what kind of, output you want. We can, tailor to you. And we are launching here in Indonesia and also in Malaysia, same two products. Will be more intelligent video analytics, and business intelligence will be from next week will be soft, and then we have some presentations here. And after that, I will be flying to Malaysia also to present.
So are you saying that I can predict what happened inside of my tenant?
Of course.
Or let's say this building, I can actually predict.
It's not prediction. You can almost, we can say exactly, we'll know what it's not prediction. It's not predictive technologies. It's actually give you today's actual situation about whatever we can put to the algorithm, what you want. We don't know what's your output, the data you want. You tell us, okay, I want to see this one, this one, this one. You let us know. Then it's work like that.
For an investor, the most important thing for investor is always information. If you ever watch the movie Wolf of Wall Street, have you watched Wolf of Wall Street? He's always paying for information. And that's what I think Ruslan is saying. For an investor, information is everything, and information is actually data. If someone can process this data for you and add to you, it makes you a better investor. It makes your investment more secure. And all these tools are already available today for the property market and all of that, even at WorldQuest and what we're doing, what Ruslan is doing, we're all there. But unfortunately, we need the regulators to start looking at it. We need to look at investors to start understanding. I think the lack of understanding technology is really where the problem lies. And that's why I give a lot of talks to try and help people understand the impact and the ability of technology, and there's nothing for us to be afraid of.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Maybe there are questions in the house today. We also have a few presidents in the house. Ambassador Alice, maybe you can invite the president to
let us hear what the current situation during this COVID in Africa, in real estate, or in government agencies, how they are now acting when we talk about actual business. What is the current situation there?
Maybe Ambassador Alice can ask maybe any president want to ask, because we are Mayor Kamunge. Yes, Mayor Kamunge. How are you, Mayor Kamunge? This is class number 7.
Thank you, Dr. Ayla. I'm enjoying the class for today. It's very informative. Last week I learned about crypto technology. Now I'm learning about And now I'm learning about technology in terms of data gathering on real estate. And I have a question for the gentleman. I think he's called Ruslan. His presentation is very interesting, and I like the emphasis on technology. Now, here in Kenya, we have a department that is charged with remote sensing, and they gather data using aircraft. I'm not sure whether they have graduated into drone technology, but I know they gather data for all sorts of activities, including agricultural activities, locust control, wildlife management, environmental data collection, and things like that. And I'm wondering if we were to engage them in terms of real estate and mining, because I know they have got all sorts of data. What kind of questions should we ask them if we want to gather data that is supportive of, say, mining? What kind of questions should we pose to them? What kind of engagement? And you know, these are government departments, and they are usually very secretive with the information. I'm wondering, how do we go about engaging them and getting them to help us in terms of real estate engagement?
Understood. Okay. Actually, I'm very often meeting with government agencies, with ministries. Today, if you see any country have remote sensing division, any country in the world, there is no issue. But the problem is technology you used. You know, you can say drone, you can say whatever it is, you know, what technology used and how much government agency really would like to implement something which they cannot manipulate. That's the other. That's mean this question is not, you have to ask them first, not me. Otherwise, you propose I have already like this, believe me, very, how to say, interesting meetings in some government agencies. If you was in the meeting, you will think that two parties want to fight each other, but actually I told them I am not here policeman or you know, prosecutor come here. No, I come here to do business, guys, because I see they was quite worried when they see after we done presentation, after done the whatever we showed them, and my scientists start discussing. They was quite worried. Why? Because they was thinking we come over there to show whatever mismatches have, whatever problem. No. Therefore, it's all about your government agencies, how open they are. Again, how open they are is one thing. What is the area today the most, let's say, needed to be, how to say, you see, you have priority projects. Which one have more higher priority? You have to understand. Government have to tell you, okay, our priority nowadays, for example, agriculture, or it's mining. If we are talking about mining, I believe we've been in Africa, some works we've done quite well. You know the problem where if multinational company invite us, we have no issue. But when government agency invite, there is a lot of questions there. What we are talking, they sometimes will tell you, can we, you know, you do the work, give us data, later we do this, later we do that. You know, we have many scenarios there. One of the government agency, I tell you one thing, we done job for one big country, few 100,000 square kilometers. We never give them even data because actually after, according to our contract, they not done anything. We didn't give, we keep until now, and they still, you know, don't have this data. We done job 8 months, few 100,000 square kilometers, all data, you know. This is work was with government. Therefore, when somebody tell me what I have to do or what I have to tell to the government, no, you have to tell first to the government what is their priority, what project they want, what kind of works, or they want or they don't want. Otherwise, just giving them questions, it doesn't, you know, you just lose your time, you know, waste your time. Governments almost all over the world is the same, you know. I don't
You
want
better give the information to me, Ruslan. So, you know, I will go and raise capital under the really interesting value land, because, you know, like I said, you know, when you buy a land on the surface, right?
Yeah.
So during my 8 years of investing in real estate, I was actually only invest in the area on the top zone, you know. On the 8 years, I begin to realize that there is actually an undervalue of the land, that intrinsic value that many people do not know about it, you know. And because I have like a partner in oil and gas and probably mining, that he is the one that telling me, oh, because he's a geologist, yes, he will, you know, he will explain, you know, the area, what is good, you know, like, because then I learn about it, you know. So we could probably buy land at the very say cheap value, you know, in a village. But we say, because we have more, because we have information, we can actually, you know, sell it for 100% or even 1,000%, because there is something below the land that
That's
a
why
lot
you
of people did not know.
You see, that's why you need business intelligence, not asking somebody to have real picture. That's why you can put to the algorithms, you know, to calculate what it's, you know, this area, why it's so strategic. You will have opinions from millions of the sources, you know. That's why to create value to any, if we are talking about the land, you must have opinion, not from the government agency or private investor. You must have overall understanding what is this area all about. First of all, you must know before you tell to someone, you know. That's why you need multiple instruments to use on that. Then lawyers, our brother, they will prepare nice, you know, the paperwork regarding when you have this kind of solid.
Of course, that is why both of you here, two amazing gentlemen here, because, you know, if you can see the land, the value, but we cannot lock it with a legal, proper legal, what you call it, legal structure, then we will lose. Somebody else will have the value, right? So that's why I invite you both, because I think having satellite and having international legal or lawyer that is already, you know, internationally known, and Dato David is advising for many government, you know, Silk Road, also many. So he could actually probably also have the access to the investor, yes, because he. I know that I'm actually aware that he's doing the biggest probably oil and gas that ever found in the history of Asia, in Malacca. So that is also the combination of know-how with satellite and unlocking the value, plus having another extra investor, and also, like Dato David said, okay, we can do also fractional. You see, even fractional, we need to have a proper legal structure that stated that this is fractional, this is what you own, how many days you own. We still need a lawyer to draft it, right? And we need to also have a standardized of jurisdiction to understand this is red and that is white, this is yellow, so people, you know, understand. But what happened is, because, you know, different country have different jurisdiction, yes, right? Like you know, a law in say, I'm giving you an example. If you go to in London, for example, in the UK, if you have 3,000 people in your company, you actually already public company, you know. You don't need to go on the IPO. You just become a public company. You already have 3,000 people, and you can trade your value, your stock, for example. But in Indonesia, you can't really do that. You have to go through some kind of, you know. So this is actually why, of course, to reach the real estate leading change, We cannot just have one simple knowledge. We have to have your knowledge, Ruslan, that is strong in satellite. We have to have Dato David knowledge that is very strong in legal, and another knowledge, for example, that very strong in marketing, and another knowledge that very strong in, let's say, adding the value like architect or farming, that understand A to Z. Then it becomes a real estate that is like valued, like a gold mine, the gold mine of real estate. So having this all, because I am planning to coming to Africa, because why? Because I think Africa have many potential. Like in Indonesia, we have big potential. We are like so I just learned that just see the volcano. My partner always say, Ayla, you just see where is the volcano, because below the volcano there is lava. I said, But of course, if you go beyond the volcano, then you end up buying the whole land without nothing, right? So you need to have, knowledge is like, it's a power. Information, knowledge is power. If you know something that people don't know, then you can already, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do, And I think the real estate downturn is not yet happening, Ruslan and Dato David. I think this is just, warming up, The real deal is not yet happening. And I myself want to be ready, and I want to educate my associate or the people that I want to do business with, or even the learning curve that I learned, that to be ready that, we're gonna go into like a little deep Dato David say that the equilibrium, like the real value of real estate, so there is no value that people create, which is even better for me, for everybody, so people understand that the real value of real estate, right? So
okay, we will send you the presentation for what I see in Africa. Quick, what you can start. It's of course, and our brother, I think, have a lot of paperwork from law side. We can start preparing something related to the Universal State Registrar. That's mean cadastre, because the most important thing right now for them is elimination of human factor and data forgery. About land. This is the most important one. And also, of course, it will be good if we, put this under DLT. This is the way you can call blockchain, DLT. Something which is bulletproof.
Yes. We discussed about it last week, Ruslan. Very interesting. We discussed about it last week. So nobody can change the contract, yeah.
Yeah.
No, what we're saying is what Ruslan says is very true. Even from a legal perspective, the first thing you need to sort out is your registry, is your ownership, is taking out the human factor. And once you have that, then everything else you can build on it. But if you don't have that, if that first part can be changed or can be manipulated or whatever, then whatever you build on it, whether it's technology, will not work. So Ruslan's got a good point. We need to start with that. From a legal perspective, I'm just suggesting.
Yeah. And also from business perspective, from government side also, you will be protected. At least nobody will come and say, oh, sorry, what you are doing here? What kind of excavating works here? This is my territory or whatever. There is a lot of cases, even here, quite a lot. And I believe there have also millions of them. Therefore, we have to start from there. It's basic, and the most important point is that. Otherwise, whatever we talk, any real estate over there, it will be even mining area, whatever area, you have to first understand belongs to who that, who is the owner. That's the most important thing. Thousands of cases in Indonesia. I know in Kalimantan, Sumatra, and number of islands, quite big cases, big. So much, you know, people don't know, fighting for the titles.
That's why they need consultant like me, Ruslan, and Dato David to solve the issues in the court.
Yeah.
But you know, I think if you have deep understanding about the knowledge, we don't even have to go to court. You know, sometimes it's a very simple thing. Like for example, if the highway, right? The highway, you know, the highway. I was advising like, why do you actually have to build a highway under the land? Because you will have dispute. This one want this, that one want this. Just build under the sea. The seas belong to government, yeah. So we just build under the sea, following the sea like that. Then, but it costs more. But at least you know it saves a lot of time because then you don't have to sit in the court tomorrow. Somebody said, "Oh, this is my land," for example, you know. But of course that it depends on the government bodies to like for let's say infrastructure, because if you actually build a road by the sea, it's probably faster but more expensive, you know. But it's safe. Like look at the infrastructure, you know, the whole entire world is actually, they cannot say, okay, we need 2,500 kilometers like in Indonesia built, like, you know, in 5 years, yes, with this job, our president. We want it to be fast, but, you know, imagine if one single dispute case, it could take like 15 years to go. Because, you know, I say, I am from the royal family, I own the land. It's my kingdom that owns the land.
Yeah,
And then the government said, you cannot.
Exactly, Ayla, now you are going exactly. In public registry, registered under what? You see, this now you have to solve out that, you know. Why? Because the potential of our technology is streamline the entire public registry, you know. It's very, very interesting. That's why we have to, you have to, in order to prove that, you have to show, yes, this is your land, register under you, you know. In public registry, that's the case, you know. This is very important.
You see, like what Ruslan is saying, and I completely agree with what Ruslan is saying. That has to be the starting point. If you look at CSI, or if you look at any criminal investigation, just to give you an example, because people can't understand technology, maybe I can put it in a very easy way. You have your DNA, and when you find a DNA, irrevocable proof, just that DNA on a glass or whatever, CSI. Now, when you have technology that is clean, that is clear, that is auditable, that is not manipulated or manipulatable, and if that sits on, for example, something like the blockchain, then it's like your DNA. It cannot be questioned. Nobody will question it because it's factual. It comes from data that is solid. And so when you add that element, sort of like the DNA of property or property ownership, let me put it in a very easy way to understand, on the blockchain, then you will basically eliminate disputes. You will make that whole process of ownership or transfer of ownership cheaper, safer, and better. And once you're able to do that, then management of that asset becomes a lot more efficient, whether it's government, whether it's private, whether it's the banks. Every stakeholder will benefit from this system because that is how you get the real value down, and it will help in the future. So, what Ruslan is trying to say is really, like for forensics, you have your DNA. We want to create a central registry based on the blockchain without the ability of anyone to manipulate or change the data. And that data is real. And so even transfer of ownerships, when you have, if let's say 10 people keep buying that piece of land over 10 times, you have a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of time. But all of that can be done instantaneously using the technology today, which is why I'm saying that migration to now fractional ownership is there, the possibilities are there. But it has to start, as Ruslan said, and I completely agree, with a central registry, which is immutable on the blockchain. Yeah.
So Dato and Ruslan, how can we say unlock that? Let's say now, for example, I am a real estate owner of, let's say, this building, right? This building that I have. So fraction, so to, let's say, 365 days, let's say, if it's like, let's say $2 million divided, or $3 million divided, let's say 3,655,000. So it's easy, right? So it's like $100 per day. Is that fraction? Yes, Dato?
No. What I'm saying is, when I say fractionalized ownership, can be in many ways. For example, you now have a property that's worth 10 million. Okay, you can't sell your property. You might want to lease your property for a while and unlock the 10 million. Correct? Right? You might say, okay, you know what? I will take the 10 million and then I will pay a monthly amount of, let's say, 100,000 or 10,000, for example. Now, for you to do that in the current system, is, you know, you would have to find an investor, you have to change the land registry. It would be almost impossible to do. But when you have, for example, a digital system whereby you can have a company where even, let's say, 100 people could put that money into that company. And that company can buy over your asset. For example, let's say I'm an investor in this company. I could put $100 US in that will then temporarily or buy over your land for that period of time. And then you pay, when you pay a lease, you pay a premium. That premium is the earning which is divided among the 100 people or 1,000 people that are doing that. But those people don't need to worry about you not paying back, because then a mechanism kicks in. If you can't, then it's like a foreclosure and that company takes over, for example. So the inherent value is preserved, the security is there, everybody knows what ownership they have. All of that is on a digital system. Now, let's say you get past your time where you need your money, your business is better post-COVID, 5 years down the line, your business is doing well, you exercise your option to buy it back from the company. So now you have survived, you unlocked your capital, people have made money, everybody's happy, and it's a very safe way to do it. So that's one way of saying fractionalized ownership. What you're saying is we can even do it in terms of a timeshare. So, for example, if you are a hotel right now and you have
Yes,
X number of rooms, you can actually sell those rooms, technically, the beneficial interest in those rooms to individual people, where they can then, let's say a tourist company and say, okay, I'll take 5 rooms and then I will sell it and then I'll pay you back that money. For example, where you're going to have hotel rooms and things like that, assets. So there's many ways that you can do this, unlocking the value. But the central point is, how do you determine who owns what and have a very secure. So if I'm an investor, I have a very secure feeling that I know that anything happens, I can show I own this, or nobody else can manipulate this data. Something like a DNA on a CSI. And this can be perpetual, it can be permanent, it can be for short term. And when you do these kind of things, you don't need banks anymore. You don't need to, technically you don't need all those kind of, because with the technology, we can do it in half an hour. All of that could be done half an hour. You register, blah, 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 because we know who your identity, what your identity is. Because that's one of the main things that is going to be very important for property ownership. Who are you? What is your identity? Once that threshold is crossed, which we can cross very easily now in technology, it doesn't matter whether you're in Africa, you could move value and you could own value, or you could transact all around the world. That's what I understand. Yeah.
I like that what you're saying to me, Dato, move the value. Yes, because real estate is very hard to move the value, because it's so,
exactly.
It's like it's a what you call it. You cannot really take your land and bring it everywhere, right?
Correct.
But
Correct.
a lot of people like to buy the land because it's the biggest value creation of all time. We all agree to it, But then the value, what happened if you can even unlock it? You could be the richest woman, but you actually, you could be the richest woman in the grave, they say, because you can never really enjoy your money. You could never, you know what I mean? Like,
you unlock
and this is
the beneficial interest. You don't need to transfer any title. That if somebody is owning it, but you have the right to use the property, for example, like a lease, somebody owns the property, but then you lease the property. You have a right, but there's another person that owns it, or you're renting the property, or you're even having some interest in it. Those are the interests, for example, without even transferring any property to anybody, just the beneficial interest on those property can be unlocked in a way that we have technology today. But coming back to what I'm saying and what Ruslan is saying, is unless you get the central registry clear, and people will not have confidence to be able to do that. Why would I want to put money in if I know that, for example, in certain countries, anybody can do fraudulent transactions. You may not be the owner of the property. So the benchmark and the starting place for all of this is that central registry and that maybe on a blockchain or whatever technology you want to use, that is immutable. There can be no question that that ownership is real, something like your DNA, basically. And then that's why I'm saying what Ruslan is saying. What we're saying is that before we start talking about all of this, this is one of the most important building blocks that needs to be there.
May I say something about land ownership in Africa?
Yeah.
Yes, Mayor Kamunge, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Ayla and Ruslan and David, when and if, I think it's not a matter of if, is when you come to invest in Africa, you probably need to understand the land policy of each country. Every African country has got its own land policy and its own, traditions and cultures. And particularly in Kenya, land is a very sensitive issue here. And ownership is in 3 tiers. We have land that belongs to the national government. The national government holds on behalf of the Kenyan people. And then we have community land. You remember traditionally in Africa, communities were living together, and together they owned large chunks of land and they were using it the way they pleased. So some countries
like in
Kenya,
Bali, Bali have this very interesting Bali, because it's different from different parts of the world.
Yes, community land is very sensitive in Kenya and is very important. And then, of course, there's private land ownership. Now, before, there are some areas where you cannot be allowed to buy land as a foreigner. There are some areas you will not be allowed to buy land. So it's important to understand the laws of the country, the policy of the country, so that there are some areas where you cannot buy freehold. You've got to hold a certain period of leasehold, and I think it was reduced to 99 years with the new constitution. So it's important, and I think this is where we can come in and help out, so that you understand the land policy, because they are very sensitive. And then once you understand the land policy and the laws of our country, we also have other instruments to help you develop real estate or to make any economic development activities. And in Kenya, it is anchored in the environment laws. And you cannot do big projects, real estate or whatever environmental impact assessment projects without an environment impact assessment license, which actually demarcates ownership, environmental management, and other benefits for the local community. And
yes,
once
the
you
same.
get
In Indonesia, the same.
yes,
Everywhere
so
is the same, I think. Before they give you the license, everywhere the same.
So
America is like this, England is like this, UK is like this. The same. They have like an environmental report, they say.
Yeah, so you have that report, and then you have the land tenure policy ownership. Then you are good to go, and it's just a matter of now using technology and using whatever technique that you want to develop your real estate with the relevant government licenses. I just wanted to chip make that contribution.
Thank you, Major. In fact, actually, you're absolutely right. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why people are worried, because people are worried, look, there are all these restrictions on land ownership, and that's true around the world, whether it's Indonesia, Malaysia, and things like that. And also, even like what you're saying, community in Malaysia, we have the local indigenous people, they have ancestral rights and all of that. There's always a clash. But what we're suggesting is you can do that in one way.
Dato is actually now. Are you doing this land thing with the orang asli? Yeah, this very interesting. I wanted to. Dato now is taking the biggest case in Malaysia about this typical of land ownership.
Land ownership and things like that. But what I'm saying is you don't even need to. So even if, let's say, the policy is only for nationals of African nationals to own it, or particular. So that's the legal ownership. That is the right of ownership of the land. But then that land has value. For example, a building can be rented out, or the land can be farmed. That value can be unlocked through this process. through digital process management of this value on that registered land can still be unlocked. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying people are now looking at unlocking this value using technology. But even the eventual ownership of land and things like that, that's how the world works. Whether you want to do business in Dubai or you want to buy land in Malaysia, there are always restrictions. But the advanced countries have used financial instruments to be able to extract value of land into many different ways. But the rest of the world, we haven't done that. But of course, the system that they use, the banking system, the instruments that they use in more advanced, sophisticated economies are still very archaic. Where we are now is a situation where technology can allow you to do all of that and unlocking those values without having to use those expensive instruments people that don't understand. Now, 10 years ago, you had the financial crisis in the US. I can tell you, if we had the technology and the blockchain back 10 years ago, you wouldn't have had that crisis because everybody would know exactly what those instruments are. Today, we have those technological benefits. And why I'm saying that is because this is a huge advantage to developing countries, third world countries and development countries, because if they can see past the traditional way of how they can unlock value into how the new technologies that Ruslan and I are talking about, what is already there, that they can unlock all these value, it will mean that with technologies such as business management, artificial intelligence, border territory management, resource management today, in many countries, even like in India, you have rivers starting from glaciers that end up in the sea, and along that, so many states require use of that river, and there's big disputes. And a lot of it can be resolved using technology that is there, even Ruslan's technology, for example, neighborhood issues, management in Africa of wildlife, of reserves. Like in Malaysia, we have a very big issue with encroachment of illegal logging and wrongful management of the forest and things like that. All of those things.
Even with blockchain, maybe we can, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the land is belong to you. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the land is belong to me, right?
The value can move, exactly. But that's what that is why I was very excited today when you said Ruslan was coming on board, because for someone like me who is looking at developing these new or advising on these new products, when I have the understanding and learning from Ruslan, for example, on how the satellite can actually help me manage and create this one problem that everybody has, which is the DNA on the land, which is a central registry. And if that can be done at such a low cost using satellite technology, then there we are. We have the solutions right here, which is a 21st century solution.
And using...
Just a simple question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Ambassador
Go ahead,
Debbie.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Dato. Dato,
Yes.
are you having an inroads here in Africa, especially in South Africa? That is what I wanted.
Yes, Dato is coming with me. He's one of the managing director in Hujan, so he's coming with me. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I will bring him to Africa.
Yeah, Professor Ayla.
Yes.
We'll be having experts.
Out of battery at the moment.
Dato,
But I will have
we'll
to
be
leave
having
you
experts on Sunday.
another meeting.
I'm so sorry, but
we'll be having experts on Sunday. Dato, we'll be having experts. Dato.
Yes, he's on the phone. He's in the phone, Ambassador Debbie. But yes, I will ask Dato if he wanted to be our guest on Sunday, yeah, for Africa.
Right. Bye. See you. Bye. I'm sorry I have to leave. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ayla and Revulam. Is he also going to be part of the meeting on Sunday? I'm bringing the satellite people in South Africa will be also talking, and I'm bringing the people in the real estate, the gurus in the real estate in South Africa. Those are policy makers, and also those who are transforming because in South Africa, as I already said, South Africa, the real estate business are in the people who oppressed us, even the land. So the land issue, as Major Kamungwe have already alluded, it's a big problem here in South Africa. But if we come as power, if we come with you, President Ayla, I think we are going to make a big inroads in that regard. Sunday, join us, 1500 us, and be part of, the conversation of this big giant, the real estate, which doesn't want to transform. I thank you.
Okay, okay. We also will send you a presentation.
Yes, I think it depends if Ruslan, are you busy on Sunday? Can you join?
But I will send you earlier also presentation you passed to over there to the colleagues. This presentation will be about land register with some cases. At least they understand what we're talking about. Then easy for her also to discuss. And when we talk Sunday, it will be also much easier. There will be some quite simple cases. We just put simple language to, at least everybody understand how technology works.
Satellite also can help with statistic, Ruslan, statistic, because in real estate, statistic is very important, like understanding
This is what I was actually telling you. When we talk about business intelligence, and of course, using our land register, universal register, definitely we can do any statistics. It's up to you what metadata you want to receive in the end of the day. What is the result you want to receive, you tell us. And then of course the statistics can be done in a very simple way, and also quite understanding, it's quite structurized, will be.
What do we need to prepare for, like all of this, Ruslan? Do we need to have a data center? Do we need to have what kind of infrastructure do you need for?
No, you don't need from our. If you want to use service, is up to up to you. If you want just to use the service, is one thing. You want to become joint venture in somewhere, it's we can discuss those points. That's not an issue. You don't have to have anything. Whatever needed, we have already.
Yes. Any other questions in the house? No other question?
Okay.
So, yes, Dato David have to leave.
This case until Sunday, we say bye, because now is the praying time. It was really nice to see everyone in this meeting. Nice to talk. And I hope we can have some fruitful, maybe meetings also and business also. We don't know, but time will show, no problem. If anything.
Yes. I think if we have no other questions, I want to share a little bit about real estate, that our school, Ruslan, we have a school. And Ruslan, actually, Devi is my partner, Ruslan's wife. She also teach in this school about, so we have two very strong partnership together is where we take real estate and technology. So I believe that's why the name of the school is Global Property Bank and Technology Center, because I wanted to learn below the land and in the cloud, So if you are like a witchcraft, if you own the land, you own the cloud, the what is it, the galaxy and the underground, then you can be a powerful witch, you know what I mean?
You are very busy. Dr. Ayla is
so
very busy.
Only by owning the land and owning the mind. Huh?
Dr. Ayla is a very busy lady, very super busy, working 20 hours, 4 hours only sleeping, I think.
But I love what I do, Ruslan. I love my real estate. I actually, this pandemic is giving me a bigger impact because now I can, you know, I can actually teach, because normally this school I don't teach. I have people that teach, but because of like 6 months not doing anything, for example, that now I come to work, it started to get very busy, but you know, it's really interesting because I believe that in real estate, you know, you can make any, even not forget about real estate, in any business, in life, you can make any amount of money that you want, as long as you have the right people, yes? So forget about real estate, any business. As long as you have the right people, you know, the people who, let's say, believe in you, or maybe have different value, maybe have different, what you call it, view. As long as we, you know, we have to be open-minded, right? We cannot say, look, I am right, this is what I want. We cannot say like that, because we have to open with everything, you know, like, okay, now real estate business, we need to use technology. You need to have like what you call witchcraft from the other space, you know, the satellite. you know the satellite. They're looking at the Earth from the moon. I don't know, Ruslan, satellite. I think, I'm sure it's from the moon that look at Earth. So then we can see, oh, okay, Ayla is here. Ayla is wearing red. Ayla is wearing pink, you know, or this is what Ayla do, you know, or you know what I mean? So if you know, there is technology actually giving our life a bigger like we solve all our issues. Right? Like, for example, now my husband, if I ask him, where are you? He will say, I'm in the office, you know, and he is actually in the office, right? Because now I can tell him, oh, I can find you, you know what I mean? Like, or, you know, some people who, some people who say, you know, the people who don't pay the tenant who don't pay my, let's say, the rental, I tell them, where are you? Oh, I can find you now, you know. But even beyond that, like like Dato David said, yeah, this very important, you know, that we can unlock the value. You don't, you know, it's like this. You don't actually have to own the satellite, right? I think maybe Ruslan invests billions of dollars probably. But you can use,
End of the day, you use different kind of satellites. It's not about, you know, one satellite. There is no such thing, you know. If you have dense clouds, let's say over here in Southeast Asia, you can not use, let's say, optical satellite. You need radar satellite. There is a lot of differences between satellites. It's not just satellite. There is telecommunication satellite, which we not use. No need, no point. You know, there is others, you know, infrared, radar, optical. Therefore, it's complex business, you know. But anyway, end of the day, you know, it was quite nice to see everyone in today. Okay, all the best to everyone. I am available if anything you need, any information. Our professor.
So Sunday, can we book you in on Sunday, Ruslan? Can we book you on Sunday time, Ambassador Debbie?
Yes, yes, yes. I will be glad to meet our Ambassador Debbie, discuss with her. She is quite active. I see she is active in Africa so much like you are in Indonesia. You know, I noticed that.
And Alice.
Good. Excellent, excellent. All the best.
Yes, yes, because you know, for me it's exciting, Ruslan. It means that, imagine, technology allow me to diversify my market to Africa, right? Without even have to go there, right? And even with your technology, I could probably say, okay, maybe this land, that land, this land, let's raise the capital, you know. And with Dato David, even legal, he is definitely the best lawyer in planet Earth, because I always, you know, I have a very high standard when I do anything, because I wanted the best, you know. I wanted always the best. If it's like knowledge, I want to have the best.
You are so energetic. That's why I respect what you do and how you do. Same like our ambassador Debbie, she is quite, active. I noticed in one of the last, conversations there. It's good. It's
quality.
Yes, very important. Very important.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Just quickly review what Ayla Associate do.
Good morning.
That we have,
how are you?
Actually, collaboration. Yeah.
Good morning, Dr. Ayla. I have a question from Botswana. How are you? It's been a very lovely
Hi. Okay.
morning.
How are you? I'm great.
I'm fine, thanks.
How are you?
I really enjoyed the morning discussion. It's unfortunate that the other speaker had to leave before we could pose questions to him. But after hearing about the difference, the satellite and algorithms and technology that Mr. Ruslan, I hope I pronounced it properly.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Ruslan was talking about.
Yes.
You know, I didn't quite capture. I've captured your value propositions, the value that you can yield to a customer in terms of trying to find out what type of mineral or water resource lies underneath.
We was talking about real estate cadastre. That's mean land register. This is not about minerals. If we talk about real estate, this is land registry. This is national cadastre.
Okay.
This could be regional cadastre.
Okay,
this could be regional cadastre. This depends, depends where, where do you want to have this proper, nice, where every citizen will be authorized, for his property transactions directly online, in the we can say in the seconds, you can do some things which you right now do months and, years, because you know very well that nowadays, trust towards the governments is quite low. Of course, governments also lack of the funds, and at the same time, government want to grow their economies. That's also another question. And you think how it can be done, That's why when we talk about land registry, this is the most important thing for the property registration. If you want to register, and of course, if you're talking about every country have, that's some mismatches, millions of them, and of course, if we're talking about the human factor, it's always there. Data forgery is always there. That's why we want to create something in your countries, which already we've done in some countries. We will send you the presentation where you can see how it's work. What is this all about? How you will benefit for your country or your region or whatever, it could be a smaller area also, it doesn't matter. But the most important thing, you have to start, if you talk about land, all those kind of stuff, you have to start from that, and then you can build empire on this land. There is no issues there, But if you don't have proper land registry, and of course, which is decentralized, where you can do things in minutes, not months. That's another point, that's very important, Okay, I will send you.
Okay. Okay, it's just that I came in and was captured by listening to you discussing while you were discussing about satellites, whether they're infrared related or I didn't quite understand. So I was hoping that perhaps maybe I could request for a link or a document that will help me further, understand exactly what you do in that area in order to be able to understand how.
With cases,
yes,
at least you go study, see what is this, how is this, and at least you understand before our next meeting, maybe you can understand that.
Yes, yes. So,
okay. As well as
President, I will ask from Ruslan because actually Revalium, it is my my group companies. We have companies. It's called Advanced Technology. So Dr. Devi is actually my partner on this advanced technology. So we can give you all the details. I was just I wanted to explain that's why it's called Global Property Bank and Technology Center, because we want to combine the oldest industry in the world with the lastest industry in the world to maximize the value of both, you know, maximize the value of real estate and maximize the value of the use of the technology, because we need technology, we need to use it, we need to know how to use it, you know, because we decide how we're going to use it. We can't, you know, we decide, okay, this is the data that I need and I want it at this, you know, that's, I think it's like that, Mr. Ruslan, yes?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So
thank you very much.
Whatever I pass to you, you pass to them. Let them study first. You know, at least they have knowledge, because we have some of the presentations prepared for the non-technical people. That will be easy for them. You know.
Yeah. Okay. So if we could just have that a document that shows all the value that you deliver to the customers, that your market segments are, as well as the real problems that you're helping resolve, and you know the types of products and services that you're offering, and you know how satisfying they are, and if possible perhaps the cost structure to see if how affordable it is for, you know, your individual SME entrepreneur to literally to your government type of client, so that we can be able to assess and really understand the opportunities that we can perhaps, you know, propose to you as well. It would be quite helpful.
Yes, yes. So I'm just giving an example of what, because this is, I think now in the level 2, we have Global Property Bank Technology Center. We are working with Ambassador Alice in Africa, opening the associate degree level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. We also have a specific level on the selling, yes. And selling, we have what we call personal branding, and you can actually download my application. It's already there, yes. So there's education center, we have also maintenance center, we have liquidity provider, we have all of this. And this is the Terra satellite that advanced technology have, which is a part of my services. You know, that's why I work a lot with the government agency or a very big companies to maximize the value of the real estate. So this is another thing our company have. It's like Town Connect, so we can doing maintenance and doing this is the latest one. We can actually, we wanted to try to trade the real estate, like Dato David said, yes, like real estate in here unlocked with real estate in other parts of the world, so it's easier. So that makes us raising capital easier. So this is actually the things that I built all these years. What I built is I'm building a community, you know. Next week, we will have the Secretary General of the biggest real estate federation in the world, yes. With, I hope that this gentleman can come, which is the author of the books that I read, you know, Dolph DeRoss is American investor and billionaire. Because, you know, I don't want to just teach real estate. I want people to understand real estate and jump to a deal. Because if you don't jump to a deal, then you will not understand it. You know, for me, it's actually 17 years of experience, and you're still learning. Until today, I'm still learning, you know, what is it, COVID, how COVID can help my business, or how I can take advantage of this COVID using technology, for example. So I think, thank you very much, Ruslan. You know, you are amazing, and I also want to Dato David. Dato David is actually a very busy man, but I'm glad that he give the time. You know, he's currently if you Google him, you know what kind of cases, at what kind of level, the professional that I bring to the table, because I like to have everything in the very high standard, like I said, because there is no quality is number one. You cannot say if you building a real estate company or building a brand, even a real estate, you need to have quality that other people don't. There is no such a quality in the market. That's why you are like standing there, because they know that they can go to other people and get the same service like you offer, for example, you know. And I actually offer this degrees, and I committed to Ambassador Alice because I wanted to create entrepreneurship where women can actually sell real estate, do real estate business from their homes, and still making money without even losing that time with the children, you know, the time with the husband, or the time with, you know, like you can actually stay home and not doing anything, but still doing great business worldwide, you know. And the other is, I think that I personally want, I am very passionate about real estate. It's not only for like making the money, but I wanted to create a legacy. This is why a real estate leading change, you know. I don't want to be just another businesswoman or another people who just start a business and just leave it like that, you know. I wanted to create legacy that, you know, we learn a lot from her. We get so much things from her. You know, I sometimes take a very, you know, my clients are not a rich client or poor client. I treat them the same, you know. I have 25 million people in Indonesia, street vendor, that I actually try to help them to buy a real estate, because a lot of them don't have the house. That is why I actually come into the Global Property Bank and Technology Center, right? That is why I created the school, because you have to teach people real estate for them to understand before you even going to anything. Because when people understand the value, what can they have, then they will want to learn. I still learn until today. I think we have, you know, everybody very comprehensive knowledge. You will never stop learning. For me, today has been amazing session, Ruslan, you know. Thank you, my brother. You always very enterprising.
Thanks, Professor. Professor, you are very active. I amazed really with your energy. That's why I respect you very much. All the best, of course, for every participant. Of course, all the best to you. And I think what you are doing is very right thing. It's quite good. You know, you are gathering so many people from so many countries. You know, we exchange our, you know, experiences. It's a very good thing. Very good thing. All the best. Thanks. Huh? Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. I will see you in the next real estate channel on Sunday, hosted by Africa, and then my channel will be every Wednesday, next Wednesday. Yes. Ruslan, I book you for Sunday. Yes.
Sunday.
Thank you, Ambassador Alice, Kabunge. Thank you, all president. Maybe you can invite one each president to speak. Ambassador Alice, you know, to introduce real estate leading change. This is inclusiveness by World Women Leading Change, and we are already in 36 countries. Yes, because
actually,
of
Dr.
Ambassador
Ayla,
Alice.
Actually, Dr. Ayla, I wanted you to listen to other presidents from other parts of Africa, because, and I wanted Ruslan to hear that, because every president has something they wanted to say regarding the real estate in their country. So maybe if you can give them just a minute for them to say something, starting with Nigeria. I can see we have Ogena.
Hello, good
Ogena,
morning.
are you in the house?
Yes, I'm in the house. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes,
Good morning to all the amazing speakers. Thank you so much to all the presidents from across Africa. My name is Ogenna Walter Ekubiri. I am a Nigerian, and fortunately, I am also a player in the real estate sector here in Nigeria. So I was listening
Yes, Ogenna?
keenly to everything, all of how, I am in agreement with everything raised, especially as it pertains to ICT technology and infusing it in real estate. I reside in Abuja, which is the capital of Nigeria, and Abuja happens to be one of the largest.
Ogenna,
you're lost. Ogenna, we are losing you.
Okay,
growing cities in Africa use that because of well incorporated real estate technology.
Okay, okay, Ruslan. Okay, thank you.
All the best.
Yes,
Ogenna,
Ogenna.
see you on Sunday. See you on Sunday. But
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. I have to leave. I have to leave. My apologies. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Ogenna, can you finish?
Oh, yes, please. So we have companies like Cross Group, Grenadines Homes, who are infusing smart homes, smart technologies as of today, from cyber active to everything in seeing to it that they have real estates that have smart technologies inclusive. So, I mean, I can't wait for Sunday and for subsequent sections where we could get to speak a lot, exchange ideas, and most importantly, I can't wait for when you're ready to come invest, because Nigeria is really, really green and ready for real estate investment. We have the market, we have.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. We have Rebecca. We have Rebecca in the house.
Population, and most importantly, we have people.
The president in charge of infrastructure. Okay.
Hi.
Thank you again.
Good morning,
thank you,
everyone. Good day. Yes, I think today I have learned a lot, and I just love that part of saying you can invest in real estate even if you don't have money. I just said this session is a session that made me have another vision on how to zoom in into real estate. And I think these courses, they really empower us, they really teach us a lot. And in this sector and in all other sectors, I think with WWLC, we will manage to link all our sectors together, and will manage to work together and invest in each and every one. And I know in South Africa with real estate investment currently, we know because of this pandemic, some of the CPIs are low currently, with the banks are not giving more loans. But we know that whatever we are doing now, it's something that will make us to open up in all countries to understand what each and every country is really doing, is really focusing on, especially on this side of the real estate. So I thank you very much, Dr. Ayla, and all the speakers. We have really learned a lot. And President Alice, thank you very much.
So I just want to give an insight, yes, Rebecca. This lawyer, Dato David said that there is a rules of regulation that we have to follow. But the rules, the government, yes?
Okay.
But
yes.
if we as an association, we create our own rules and everybody follow it, like let's say, okay, there is a land in XXX country, yes? The rules is this person has to make sure that there is no double certificate, right? And we agree to it. If there is, you know, we can set up the rules based on the last week and today. We can set up the blockchain rule, remember? There's nobody can change it. You see? So let's say if you have a land and the requirement are XXX, then the other people have to say, give like guarantee. The requirements are XXX. Then The money can be raised, but nobody can actually take the money until this requirement is actually followed. But if we, as a group, you know, if we make a rules, okay, you can only bring a real estate that is, let's say, you can guarantee, president can guarantee that there is no, because it's like a trust, right? It's basically like a trust. You know, it's basically like, that's a blockchain. So that is why I keep saying that every president needs to finalize what is the product. And that's why I keep saying that every center has to work, because it's all related, yes? You see, real estate cannot going anywhere without infrastructure. Infrastructure cannot go anywhere without the food and agriculture. Food and agriculture cannot do anything without creative art. Creative art cannot do anything without education. So it's like everything is related. You cannot take one hand from your finger, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's all related, you know, like that is why we are related as a woman, you know, we're related. You cannot, we have to take everybody, you know, on our boat together. We cannot leave, let's say, one country alone, because then we need that, probably that even 1%. You see, if you're going to even what you call it, any decision making, if 1% not agree, it means it's a golden share. We have to bring everybody. There has to be an agreement. Okay, you do this, I do this, you do that, I do that, you know. But we can create that among us, you know, the rules and regulation, which is the blockchain, that nobody can change it, you know, like even I cannot change it. Ambassador Alice cannot change it. Nobody can change it. This is the rules and regulation, you know. We set up that and we say, okay, this is the type of land we look, this is the type of the cash flow we're looking, and this has this ingredients, for example, we can put in the AI technology. There has to be 100 people walking in the street every day. That will say this is a very good land, for example. You know, we can put all of that. You know what I mean? So there is an identification on this. What is good investment? What is not good investment?
Thank you. And then we have the last one, Chase. I think she's the last president we have in the house, Chase.
Yes, good morning, President Alice. Good morning, President Ayla. This is a very interesting topic. I am learning a lot and I'm really following it. And just like Dr. Ayla said, real estate is the only real kind of asset that you can invest in, because it's limited, unfortunately. We cannot create more land from here on. So it's really important. And one thing that my country is looking into is real estate investment in tourism. I think that's one important aspect that they are really looking into.
Ecotourism,
real estate. Investing in real estate. Ecotourism.
Yes. Ecotourism.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Ecotourism, is it?
Yes, it's ecotourism.
Yes. Our government is looking into. And say that again, I did not hear you.
No, real estate, from the day you are born, you need real estate to the day you die. And everybody asked me, why am I in woman empowerment? I said, if I'm a real estate person and I'm not in woman empowerment, you know, it means that I'm not doing enough research, because women actually decide on the buying of the real estate. And eventually when I take out, you know, because I love to study. This is why I also have a school, because I love to study. I'm very passionate. I'm very, what you call it, I wanted to know, you know, like, I'm a very curious person. I always wanted to know why they do this, why they do that, why this, why that. but those questions actually will like, why I'm in real estate? Because like you said, there's only one real thing, and you need to be, you have to touch your real estate, yes. And when you die, you actually buried in real estate, right? And this is the only probably the land that is we can give to our legacy to our children, yes. We eat the food is growth in real estate. Our textile is from real estate, you know. And it's like it's 200. So you know, if you see there is real estate problem, then economic will be problem. Another thing that we have to explore is health, yes, health. But health is also from real estate. Don't forget that if like what happened now, pandemic, there is probably imbalance, you know, because probably this pandemic is already there, but then it grows, you know, it grows, becoming like more violent, you know. It's like evolution. The virus is evolute as well, but we need to know why it's evolute. Are we treating the land properly? Are we treating the ocean properly? You know, these are the questions we need to ask, you know. Are we our land properly? Do we pray in the land? Even I always say, Ambassador Alice, we need to pray, you know, because we are actually following the land, our feet, yes. Unless if we are a witch, we can fly, but you know, we're not a witch, we cannot fly. So this, we stand in the land. So and woman is the first real estate for all the humankind, right? Like you are actually the house, and WWRC is like a cocoon, like a house. So you know, all the ladies, you know that you have a home. The home is WWRC. This home will give you, you know, like you come to the house, the house gives you food, for example, yes. The house keeps you, you know, when you come, actually calm, you know, like this is actually the cocoon we are trying to create. So I think
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayla. I think we are done with Africa. So back to you, you can close.
Okay, thank you very much for staying tuned. I know some of you now is already working time or busy time, and I hope to see you on tomorrow. We have technology and we have wellness on Friday. South Africa will host tomorrow. I think technology, maybe Russia will host. And then Saturday we have creative arts, India will host. And also education, India will host. And Sunday we have kids, United States of America will host. And on Sunday we have also real estate. Yes, Ambassador Alice?
We have real estate with South Africa.
Okay, Sunday, yes?
Yes.
Okay, follow us on World Leadership Conference in Facebook or World Woman Leading Change TV on the YouTube, yes? Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant week, and bye. Love and light from Jakarta, Indonesia.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.